Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Andrea Kaminsky, and I would like to introduce Ellen Zhang, running for Alder in District 8. Welcome. As we begin, please give an opening statement about the educational, vocational, and civic experience that you have which prepares you for this office and why you're running for Alder.
Yeah, I just would like to say that I really appreciate this opportunity as a former League employee. But I grew up in a community of Chinese American immigrants, and so that taught me the value of community service and mutual aid. And so after coming to UW, I've been involved in eliminating student civil rights barriers. I've worked in the state legislature. I've worked really closely with the city clerk's office and recently with the Community Development Authority. And so collectively, these experiences have really given me the understanding that the city is the most effective engine to solve people's material conditions. And I've also seen that students face a lot of similar struggles across housing, transportation, and barriers within the city.
Thank you. How would you evaluate the city's current efforts to address homelessness and increase the amount of affordable housing?
Yeah, the problem is that the growth of the city and Dane County outpaces the growth of housing units. And so really the first question is, how do we increase this volume? How do we increase development at pace? And so the vision that I have is to increase density and to increase mixed-use zoning development so that people can live where they work and where they shop, and it becomes a more livable community and city. And by increasing the supply and by increasing these kinds of developments, hopefully we can see a higher vacancy rate that makes it more of a renter's market and a homeowners and home buyers market rather than a landlord and sellers market.
Okay, any other additional steps the city should take to address these issues?
Yeah, I didn't address the homelessness question, so thank you for giving me that opportunity. But I think that it's really challenging to both provide services and provide space for these individuals. And so I think that the city should really prioritize not only opening shelters, but also making sure that these are fully staffed and that there are adequate services to move individuals from being unhoused to having stable housing long term.
Okay. And what actions or programs would you support to enhance community safety in Madison?
There's questions of policing, so increasing funding to alternatives like the CARES program for mental health, but also increasing sort of a cohesive sense of that would involve like pedestrian safety, cyclist safety, lighting at night, and even late night transport, which allows people to get home safely when they have no option like a car.
And how should Madison balance the need for development with other concerns such as traffic, historic preservation, and conservation of natural areas?
Like I said earlier, I think increasing density is an effective way to address these concerns because it reduces the sprawl that encroaches on natural resources, and it also encourages people to explore alternative modes of transportation rather than car-centric infrastructure, which has its own health hazards for the communities around. And as far as character goes, it is always a conversation with the City Urban Design Commission and residents to see what they feel comfortable with and how they can increase the habitability of their communities.
Okay. When faced with making difficult, controversial decisions, how will you ensure that you're getting input from residents with a broad range of perspectives?
Something that I've been doing in my campaign is reaching out to different community organizations, city committees, representatives in the university to see what their perspectives are. So I was just talking to the director of the Community Development Division, but I was also talking to organizations like Madison Tenant Power, like the Reproductive Rights Coalition on Healthcare, like student organizations. And I think that kind of perspective and my strength in being able to listen to different organizations, interests, and constituents will allow me to navigate difficult decisions gracefully, even if at odds with ideal outcomes for different groups.
Okay. Now, what are the most critical issues that maybe we haven't addressed in this interview that you see facing the people in your district, and what would you propose to address these?
Yeah, I think top of mind is absolutely expanding public transit. Increasing public transit service coverage and extending hours would be a really great benefit, not only to students of District 8, but also marginalized communities across the city of Madison, especially as lots of people don't have car access, and for service workers who struggle to get home at night without public transit, this is like a huge issue. But there's other things, like addressing ICE. That's absolutely top of mind for constituents and for people across Madison, especially as its presence increases in other cities in the Midwest. And so I think that the city really needs to be proactive in creating a community defense plan, being in conversation with organizations and students and communities of color and businesses of color owned by people of color, to ensure that we stand as a community not fragmented.
And what would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
I'd just like to say that I'm not only here to be a student representative, I'm here to be so much more. And so that what that means is I'm here to represent people beyond District 8, but I'm also here to be a resource for students. Students are often first-time renters, first-time living by themselves and navigating a city, a different city from where they grew up. And so I want to be able to direct people to resources, direct people to make it easier to be renters, to address concerns they have with their landlords, with the transit system. Even if it's not a city policy, I want students to know how to get around and how to live in Madison.
All right. Well, I want to thank Ellen Zhang for speaking with us and thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that the election is Tuesday, April 7th, and every election is important. Please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.